Hey guys, Todd James here. So, early in 2021, as is the usual, I get flooded with messages, phone calls, emails, you name it, from people, looking to make good on their New Year's resolution, that they're going to get off their butt and they're going to do something this year. The questions, are usually, what's the best business to start this year? And when possible, I try and answer those questions, even though the answers are fairly repetitive. But the best answer starts off with another question. What are your resources? How much money are you starting with? How much time do you have to devote to this new endeavor? What are your plans? I mean, is this something you want to do long term? So are you willing to invest the time to learn and really master what it is that you're looking at? Or are you in it for the short term? Are you looking to make a quick buck and just run off and buy a new car, buy a house, or take a vacation, what have you, whatever, just meet your immediate needs and then move on? I'll be honest with you, I don't waste a lot of time with people that are looking at things short term. And I have a reason for being that way. It's not that I'm just difficult and ornery. I grew up in a family that owned businesses, and from a very early age, I would answer the phones at any one of our businesses, and there would be people calling in trying to scam us. Sell us light bulbs, sell us insurance, sell us, any number of things, any number of services or products that we didn't need, that we didn't, request. And, that hasn't changed. In 2021, these scam calls are more prevalent now than they've ever been. Your scam emails are more prevalent than they've ever been. And it's just the world we live in. But again, coming from a family of small business owners, I take it personally. I know how hard my family worked to make a dollar, to put a roof over our heads and to put food on the table. I know how meticulous we were in the way we did business to maintain our reputation. And when you have people that are trying to scam you, that they're literally taking food off your table, frequently they're acting in a manner that can damage your reputation. And I can't tell you how deeply my contempt runs for those people. I just don't have any time for them. So, when I have someone who contacts me, again, asking about what I think are good business opportunities, and they indicate that they have a very, very short time frame, I tell them, first of all, that I think they're approaching it wrong. Just my opinion, but I give them my opinion. And I tell them that by having such a short time frame, they really open themselves up to being the victims of, misguidance. Let's be nice. Let's try and not get me sued here. But there are a lot of people out there selling courses, all over YouTube for any number of things, whether it's investing in cryptocurrency, stock market investment. The big thing I've seen recently, it must be trending right now, maybe because of some of the things happening out in the real world, but option investing, whether it's Amazon, eBay, Shopify, or any number of other things you can do online. There are a lot of people, and I would personally say the majority of the people selling courses have little to no experience in what it is they're selling courses about. And one example I can give you, now, just to illustrate what I'm saying, is that there's an individual out there who I have followed for years. He has produced a decent course. It's not a great course, but it's not a bad course, and it's not a scam course. But he's produced a course about a particular niche on Amazon, and how to basically work within that niche to to make money. And if you do what he tells you to do, and you dedicate yourself to the process, I suspect that you would in fact make money. So again, it's not a scam. But recently, this individual has, just out of the blue, he's producing a course now about trading stock options. And in one of the first videos he did, he pointed out that he's only been doing this for about 2 weeks, but he says he's made, $1,000 in 2 weeks. Well, assuming everything he tells you is true up to that point, we're all good. But the problem is he's already producing a course suggesting that, you can do exactly what he's done and replicate his earnings, if not surpass his earnings, going forward. And he's selling the course for about $1,000. Well, let me tell you, that's $1,000 you'd be better off just throwing yourself a big party for, or using it to heat your home. Just shred it up and burn it in the fireplace, because what he's selling you is just fool's gold. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen the way he says it's going to happen. And I pick on this particular example because I have a great deal of experience in trading stock options. Just to give you some background, stock options have been around for a long time, but they've only been publicly traded since 1987. Prior to 87, stock options were literally just contracts that existed between a buyer and a seller on an individual basis. There was no market for them. There was no real way to accurately price them. It was just a question of two people coming to an agreement on price and on term. And they were used prior to 1987 as basically methods to hedge investments in actual stock, and more often than not an underlying stock that you owned, as probably an institutional investor. In 1987, there was a marketplace created for stock options, CBOE, Chicago Board of Option Exchange. And in 1988, I started looking at stock options as a potential tool for creating income. It appealed to the number cruncher in me. I just thought it was a really interesting process, and it's one that I threw myself into wholeheartedly for about 20 years almost. I will tell you that in the first 3 or 4 years, I lost tens of thousands of dollars. I have spoken to people in the past and told them that using dollars from the late 80s, early 90s, that I'm certain I lost enough in my early attempts to trade stock options to pay for a 4-year college education at a pretty decent school. But once I had gone through the learning curve and gone through the learning process, I started to make money. And from about 93, throughout from 1993 through the rest of the 1990s, I made a significant amount of money trading stock options. I was, for lack of a better term, I'll say I was an amateur option trader. This was something I did in my spare time. But with that said, when you're dealing with tens of thousands of dollars at risk, nobody's an amateur. And if you really approach it like an amateur, you're just a sucker. You're the one who is going to lose their money and walk away, with nothing. So, I took it very seriously, and once I had kind of learned how things worked and which ropes to pull on to make things happen, I was very successful for a number of years. And around 2003 to 2005, I gradually phased out of stock options as a hobby because I could see the market was being manipulated quite a bit. That was the early days of fast electronic trading, and you had a whole new group of people coming in to trade stock options that were different than the ones who had been there before. And they had tools and resources available to them that it made it very difficult for them to be on the losing side of a transaction. And they acted in a way that was quite a bit different than what was a previously accepted pattern of behavior for option traders, whether you're a professional option trader on the floor of CBOE or whether you're an option trader from your home. Integrity and ethical trading was really a benchmark of that market, and the electronic traders basically removed things like ethics from the equation, and you started seeing things happen that had just never happened before, and things that were unpredictable to anyone that wasn't running a supercomputer in the basement and trading in milliseconds, and trading on such a massive scale that you could move an entire market on a minute by minute basis. So once everything kind of moved against me, and moved against other people like me, I just segued out of that particular market and out of that particular activity. It just wasn't something I was willing to take large losses on, and it wasn't a system that there were no rules there to learn. It wasn't a question that I'd fallen behind the curve. It was just a question that the game had been changed pretty dramatically. Well, that situation still exists today in 2021, and on an even larger scale. So when somebody is telling you that for $1,000 they're going to sell you a course that's going to make you a lot of money on how to, in stock option trading, they're just plain wrong. Either they are misguided themselves, they fool themselves into thinking they know something they don't, or they're trying to fool you into thinking that they know something they don't. Either way, it's a bad deal. So I see things like that, and I take it very personally because, again, going back to being, a family of small business owners, the first reaction I have is, well, this person is trying to scam you. And, I don't like being that way. I don't like being negative. And maybe it's not, again, like I said, maybe they believe what they're saying, but what they're saying is just fundamentally untrue. So, the point of all this is getting back to the whole idea of a side gig, if you will, for 2021. I would say weigh your options very carefully. One, I would throw out anybody who's telling you to trade cryptocurrency. I would throw out anyone who's telling you to trade options. The potential there to lose everything that you invest is so high that your chances of coming out ahead are almost not even measurable. It just, I know people that say they've made money on cryptocurrency, and I'm happy for them, but it's not an investment yet. It's a speculation, and there's a huge difference. And for people trading stock options that don't have the capital to do it, and that aren't willing to go through potentially years of intense study and training, trust me, you're going to walk away with nothing in your pockets, and you're not going to be happy. It's going to set you back. You'd be better off taking that money and investing it in something that's potentially, much more lucrative, and something that's certainly real, that you have a fair chance of coming out ahead on. I make my money on Amazon. I've been successful in a number of different e-commerce style businesses. I have pretty much settled in on Amazon as being just the place I want to be. I still dabble in eBay. I do a little Shopify from time to time, but I find that for the most part, Amazon gives me the opportunities that I need in order to generate income and be successful, and they do so on a platform that is very fair. So that's where I'm coming from, but I don't want anyone to take the fact that I do business on Amazon as being the reason I'm suggesting to you that you consider Amazon. Rather, I'd like to flip that around a little bit and say the reason I'm on Amazon is because it's a fair marketplace. It's a level playing field, so to speak. But the point I want to drive home here, though, being a fair marketplace and a level playing field does not mean that Amazon is easy. If you're looking for some business that's going to just start pumping money into your bank account because you pressed an easy button somewhere, if you come at Amazon or any other business, but Amazon for the sake of this discussion, with the idea that there are some secrets you need to know, that there's a hack, that if only you know this hack, Amazon is just going to start a direct wire to your bank account, and every 2 weeks you're going to look in there and it's going to just double constantly double, and you're just going to have more money than you know what to do with. Well, if that's you and you're thinking that way, you are sadly mistaken. It's just not going to happen that way. I think we need to define some terms here, and we talk about something that's easy or something that's hard or difficult. Digging ditches is hard and it's difficult. Doing high-level physics is hard. Selling on Amazon is not hard. But with that said, it still requires that you put down a foundation of knowledge and learn the system, or you're not going to be successful, because honestly, intelligence and knowledge are always going to win out over ignorance. They just are. So when you enter into Amazon, you are on a massive platform that attracts highly qualified people in many cases who have built up very successful businesses. And operating strictly within the terms of service on Amazon, they will crush you if you come to Amazon unprepared. Amazon is like three-dimensional chess. It offers you tremendous opportunity, but by the same token, there's a learning curve involved, and you have to respect that learning curve. No course, mine included, is going to turn you into an Amazon god just after a few hours of watching videos and filling out some paperwork. There's a lot more involved. There's real world learning, that you've got to go through in order to really understand where you are in the Amazon ecosystem and understand how to maximize your position to your greatest benefit. There's a million different ways of approaching Amazon and doing business on Amazon. I know every one of my students has found their own unique way, and I'm sure other people's students have done the same thing. There's no one right way. There are thousands and thousands of different ways to interact with Amazon and do so in a profitable fashion. You've got to have a certain command of what the potential is before you can start to really make money on Amazon and exploit some of those openings that can lead you down a successful path. So I would just advise anyone, getting back to the original question, sorry I rambled some, I tend to do that, but getting back to the original question about what's the best business, there are many opportunities in e-commerce. I mentioned several in this, eBay, Amazon, Shopify, just the three big ones off the top of my head, but there are a lot of others. The biggest thing is, though, be willing to put in the time. Each one of those platforms requires specific knowledge about process, procedure, and just customs of the platform. And not knowing what came before you puts you at a severe disadvantage. Knowledge is always powerful. The more knowledge you have, the more likely you are to be successful. And I would usually tell people, patience is the number one key in being successful. Being willing to learn, not jumping in with all your money. This is not rolling the dice in Las Vegas. There's cash management, procedures that you probably need to think about and follow. How much money do you want to invest on any one product? How much money do you want to invest, overall in this endeavor? Is this the best endeavor for you? Would you be better off going out and buying a rental house somewhere? Any number of things. Would you be better off putting money into a mutual fund and just leaving it there and forgetting about it for the next 10 or 15 years? You have to look at what the value of your time is. You have to look at how hard you came by your investment capital before you lean into something without the proper knowledge to really exploit it to your benefit. So, for those of you that have watched this whole video, I congratulate you for your patience. I know I did wander there a little bit, but it's important to explain things in maybe a non-traditional way, because I'm trying to break people out of, a mindset that is reinforced on YouTube all the time, by people, again, that have very little experience, but they're telling everyone how easy it is to make lots of money doing A, B, or C. And people that have experience look at those videos and just say, yeah, that's not how it works. And I just hate to see, as they say, a fool separated from their money. A lot of fools in the long run turn into very smart people. And if I can do anything to keep people from suffering the pain that I have suffered to some degree, and that I know a lot of other people suffer through when they go down the wrong path and they put their money, their time, and their valuable resources into an effort that never was going to be successful, I feel like I've done a good day's work if I can steer people away from making the same mistakes I've made. So, with that said, hey, if this was useful at all, if this got you thinking, please hit like and subscribe down below. It lets me know what kind of information you're looking for, and I do appreciate the feedback. If you've got questions, that's why we have a comment section. Please leave your questions down below, and we'll attempt to answer those in a future video. But with that said, we'll see you in the next video.